dramatic developments in the Chandigarh stalking case this Wednesday. After Mirror Now's relentless campaign to get justice for Varnika, finally the Chandigarh police wakes up. Taking a complete U-turn, fresh charges have been pressed against Vikas Barala. The drama began Wednesday morning with the police finally issuing summons to VVIP brat Vikas Barala. Barala Jr. decided to give a skip to the summons. But as pressure mounted, about 2 hours after the 11 a.m. deadline, Vikas Barala's father, Subhash Barala, called for a media briefing. Barala, still the Haryana BJP chief, took pains to drive home the message that there was no political interference in the probe, even taking occasional pot shots at the opposition.
ना ही हमने किसी भी तरह की इस मामले में राजनीति की है, ना ही जांच को भटकाने का कोई प्रयास किया है। जो भी पुलिस इसमें जांच के अंदर जिस प्रकार के भी आरोप उसके ऊपर लगेंगे, उस आरोप के ऊपर कार्रवाई हो।
But Barala walked out of this press conference midway after he received a mysterious phone call. Minutes later, Vikas Barala finally surfaced, accompanied by the co-accused Ashish Kumar and over a dozen of other friends and followers. The VVIP brat surrendered at the police station. Vikas Barala was grilled for nearly 2 hours. Police say that additional charges have now been pressed against Vikas Barala.
इन accused के खिलाफ हम 2 charges प्रेस करने जा रहे हैं. एक तो है attempt of abduction का.
But opposition and activists have dubbed the entire episode as mere stage-managed optics to ensure that the state BJP chief gets a clean chit. While Mirror Now lauds the police for finally taking action, there are glaring questions that need to be answered even now. The VVIP brat is in police custody after nearly a week. Crucial time lost. Vikas Barala and his friend Ashish both allegedly refused to give blood and urine samples on the day of the incident. This when they have been charged with drunken driving. Damning evidence lost. Shouldn't the government take it beyond optics and eyewash? Why is there no action against BJP leaders who are indulging in victim shaming? Also, why is Subhash Barala still Haryana BJP chief? And more significantly, shouldn't an independent team now take over the probe? Mirror Now report.
We are watching the Urban Debate on Mirror Now. I'm Faye D'Souza. This evening we're going to continue to focus on this very important case. It's important not just because of the high-profile accused, but because it is an indicator of what's happening in our country right now. Is the arrest enough? What about all of the other demands that the police officer who had initially filed the watered-down complaint should be removed from office? That a completely separate team, a special investigating team that has nothing to do with Haryana and cannot be influenced by the politics there, be set in or be brought in to actually investigate this case. The opposition claiming that this is all just optics, that the arrest is just the beginning and we have to make sure that the actual investigation is not tampered with in any way. And other worrying things that come up at this point. Members of the BJP still making disrespectful statements, like Babu Supriyo, for example, who called this entire thing a filmy style boy chase girl. Why isn't the BJP cracking down on these people and bringing them in line? That's the question we're asking this evening. Are we taking this seriously enough? Is it just optics? Or is this arrest a clear sign that the government means business and they are going to mean business and provide justice, especially in this case, in spite of the fact that the accused is one of their own? Our phone lines are open, and of course so is involve.in, where you can log in and leave your comments that will pop up straight onto the screen. But let me welcome onto the show this evening Raman Malik, spokesperson of the Haryana BJP, Sanjay Jha, national spokesperson of the Congress party, Varnika Kundu, the Chandigarh-based DJ who was the victim in this particular case, joins us, and she's going to be bringing in the woman's perspective of what it is like to talk to the police, what it is like to actually have to go through this investigation, post the arrest coming through. Yogita Bhayana is a social activist. Amit Khemka is a lawyer, and Aishwarya Bhati is an advocate for the Supreme Court. I'm very glad to have all of you in. Mr. Khemka, it's a pleasure to have you on the show. We also have Aditi Nagpaul of Mumbai, who faced a similar incident, proving to us that this is not just about Delhi or Chandigarh. This is happening all across the country right now. I want to bring in all of the voices at this point. I will start with Aishwarya Bhati. Aishwarya, we've had an arrest, and this is what the media has been asking for the last couple of days. It is a good sign that the arrest came in, that the charges have now been increased and trumped up to attempt to abduction. Is this enough? Is this, according for you at least, a clear sign that the government means business?
Well, this is definitely a good sign, but this is nothing more than a beginning. But yes, this is a very welcome beginning, and you know, one is not used to these kind of good beginnings happening, and this is also, I feel very strongly that this has only happened because you have kept the pressure up and you have pursued this case and made it so big on media. But this is just the beginning of the story. We need to have investigation which is completely fair, which is completely unbiased. You know, if the police investigating agencies are given a free hand to do the complete investigation, a lot part of the evidence is already electronic evidence that needs to be seized, completed with the expert evidence. The victim has already you know, spoken about it, so her statement needs to be recorded, identification, etc. Everything needs to be done in a fair manner and a quick manner, because this is not an innocent case of, you know, movie kind of a boy chasing girl. The definition of stalking is very different than a boy pursuing a girl, and it is an offense. As a first timer, also it's an offense for 3 years, punishable by 3 years, and repeat offense is of course punishable by more. So it is a lot more needs to be done. This is a good welcome step, and I hope that without the media pursuit, the matter can see its logical conclusion, because the common man still does not have the confidence with the police agency.
Aishwarya, do you believe that a special investigative team should be constituted in this particular case? Do you believe that the police officers who had actually filed the complaint to begin with are already in some way compromised?
Well, Faye, if they are given the free hand, if they are allowed to do their job, I feel that the police agencies are actually competent to carry on their job. They are more than competent and well equipped to do their job. The local police is always best equipped to do the job, but they must be given a free hand. There should be no interference with investigation whatsoever. And in fact, I must tell you that if any kind of interference happens, that amounts to a separate offense, and you know, the victim or anybody can pursue it further in the court of law, and it can be monitored by court also if the investigation is not being carried out in a free and fair manner.
Absolutely. And you know, we have a couple of comments coming in on Involve, where someone says media should pursue such cases for commoners too. You're so right. And there's no such thing as a commoner. We're all citizens. You're absolutely right. The media should put this kind of muscle, this kind of effort, this kind of airtime behind every single case, because apparently, from what we're learning from our law enforcement agencies, this is what it takes really to get them to do their jobs. Mr. Amit Khemka, do you believe this is enough? This is a good sign, Aishwarya Bhati said. What do we need from here going forward? Because we had clear statements right through the day from the ruling party, from the BJP, saying we're not interfering, we haven't interfered so far. Look, you have an arrest. Is that enough?
Faye, let me first of all say that I salute these two ladies, and I want to assure them that whether politicians are standing with them or not, people like me and Aishwarya, especially belonging to the legal community, are with them. The common man is with them. Common people are with them. We do feel for our ladies. I'll not use the oft-repeated words like sisters and mothers and daughters. I'll not use those words for the women. What they have done, how they have come forward, and the way you have helped them out, I mean, the way you have stood for them, it is absolutely wonderful. It actually gives, that is the ray of hope I see. I will have to disagree to a little extent with Aishwarya that this is the same police officer who till few days ago could not find, nothing has changed, could not find that offense under 365 and 511. Today, when the media has stood with this lady, they have found that this section is applicable. So first of all, this officer must go. According to me, either he was wrong on that day or he is wrong today. So I don't foresee any hope from this man. At least the officer in charge must go. Rather, his seniors also must go. There is no question of keeping this man or these officers in the investigation team. And you have rightly said that a special investigation team is required to be constituted immediately, because these are the people who have become habitual of working under pressure. First they were working under the pressure of the political bosses, now they are working under the media pressure. So let us be very clear, they are not fair or objective. Either way, either he was wrong that day or he is wrong this day, today. So there is absolutely no fairness I see in this. He is working, he is doing his work out of compulsion. And let me tell you one thing, that I see no hope from any political party, be it the past political parties or present political party. Because the reason is very simple. It was way back in 2006 that the Supreme Court said that you must constitute state security commissions and the National Security Commission. Till date, there is absolutely no action on that. That was the only way the political pressure on the police could have been kept away.
Right.
In a place like Delhi,
let me bring it. Yes. Mr. Khemka, let me bring in the other panelists as well. Yogita Bhayana, and these are my three independent, non-political voices. Yogita Bhayana is a social activist who works with women who are victims of crime, from stalking to rape, and who deals with the police on a daily basis. Yogita Bhayana, do you believe, like Mr. Khemka was telling us, that there's been a very clear, distinct flip-flop from the police in Chandigarh in this particular case, and it indicates that they're moving under pressure, either from politicians and then from media?
Definitely, Faye. Let me just agree with Aishwarya and the spokesperson just now. Basically, it is like very clear and evident in this particular case. The victim was known, accused were known, and also there were enough evidences like CCTV footage, so to say. Still, it took them more than 72 hours to come to this conclusion. So you can imagine what will happen to those cases, those who, they don't have any links. Still, we can say they have taken 72 hours. It means they are inefficient, or definitely it's a cover-up. So I should say I'm a very optimistic person when it comes to women's safety and this country. I'm sorry to say openly, but I'm pessimistic about this. And this is a conclusion of a case where everybody was talking about this case. All the channels, social media, everywhere there was bashing on this case. But you can imagine what happens to the normal case. And I'm sure, Faye, you also know, and the other panelists who are sitting on the channel, we as women, we have been stalked day and night, every time. It nothing to do with the sun, whether sun is out, sun is not out. It is, stalking is so common, and nobody talks about it. We have been talking about rapes, that's fair enough. But stalking, something is like we learn to live with. I have been stalked so many times, even working on women's safety issues. I have so much experiences to share, even every woman in this country would have. So I want to tell that every case will that lead to the conclusion, or every time we need media to come into the picture and put pressure? These kind of goons, political goons, are available in every kind of places, and they are the one, they get so much of courage because of their backgrounds. So we need to see whether all the cases are reported and lead to the conclusion. I mean, I'm still very pessimistic, being an optimistic person on this panel.
Right. And I just want to point out something. There are two things to worry about here. One is, of course, Babul Supriyo, who says, let's not have a media trial. But the worrying concern that all of our panelists have put forward is that unless the media pulls something up and puts it on a national platform, we don't see the kind of reaction that we should see from law enforcement. So the other concern that's popping up is, will this case be forgotten if the media forgets it? Will the case then be brushed under the carpet? Will the particular accused receive 5-star treatment inside of jail? I will promise you one thing, on this channel we will not forget about this particular case. We will continue to pull it up on a regular basis. Raman Malik, spokesperson of the Haryana BJP. What is the response right now from the Haryana BJP to the things that were just said? That this is optics, that this should have happened earlier, and obviously the police were functioning under pressure.
Well, I certainly would not, take this argument that the police is working under pressure, because the police has been totally free and has been acting as they deem fit under the police procedure codes. They have been following all things that they wanted to. Second, we at BJP, whether at the center or the state, have been very categorically saying, whether it is our MPs, whether it is our party president, whose son is the accused in this case, that we stand with the victim. We do not accept this kind of behavior, and the law should take its own course and punish the people who are, who are proven on the basis that yes, the Varnika has given a complaint. The law is going to investigate into it. The judiciary is going to take its turn, and they're going to, if found guilty, it's going to be punished, and punished severely. So that is what it should be like. But yes, I would also like to say, start here by something which I have been hearing all along with your program till now. First of all, let me first start with the mysterious call. If you were watching the press conference very clearly, Mr. Barala, when he got the call, he said, there's a call from Vikas. So that is one point. The second is, as per what Aishwarya said, yes, it's a new beginning, because it is the first time that a political party, where one of the top functionaries is, his son is the accused, has not got involved into diluting things. We have in fact told everybody that please do not interfere.
How do you explain then the fact, how do you explain the fact that
the charges... Please let me finish, Faye. I've been very patiently listening.
How do you explain the fact...
Please ask the police. I'm not the spokesperson for the police, am I? Am I the spokesperson for the police? Please ask them. There's another point in the thing, that without 164, the person goes off to do a press conference. That was his take. So there could be various other things. And also, let me be candidly telling you here that I'm not the spokesperson for Vikas or Ashish. I am here as the spokesperson for BJP, and whatever questions are raised to BJP and its state president. Third, there has been a Nirbhaya type case which has happened in West Bengal, and acid has been thrown. Nobody is talking about that. So is just because there are VIP people involved here, top bureaucrats, top politicians, that is why the eye is there on this case? No, let me please.
Understand the seriousness of stalking.
Don't do this.
I'm talking about the basic
whataboutery that you do is the problem that we face right now.
And you are not ready to listen to my comments.
You wanted Varnika to become a Nirbhaya? Then only you would have intervened. What are you talking? You don't want to work on the prevention. You don't want to talk about before the episode. She would have ended up in
Have you even heard what I said?
Implications about it.
Rather than jumping on to conclusions and talking, I don't know, whatever comes to your mind, you are just you have not heard what I've said.
One second, Mr. Raman Malik, calm down. In fact, I want to bring in...
Before you jump your guns.
I want to bring in Varnika right now, and I want to point out a couple of things.
No, ma'am.
There was a statement made. No.
Had she listened to what I was saying?
Your point, no. Your point here was, why are you making such a big fuss about this when there are women being raped in other states? That's your point, right? Your point is that this woman was not raped. Let's pay attention to the women who are being raped in other states.
The premise is that every case should not...
This is called whataboutery.
It is one case should not only be focused. Every case, every woman should be given same priority by the media.
This case should be made.
Every woman should be given who is a sufferer should be given same priority by the media.
should be made an example of.
It is being made an example. Where have you seen a father coming out openly with such, who's a state president, going ahead and saying, please punish my son? And the victim is like my daughter. So she should be given all legal, whatever the judiciary deems fit, she should be given all those rights. And her perpetrators should be punished. I do not appreciate you
pointing at cases in West Bengal saying, why aren't you paying attention to that? Why are you paying attention to it? Because that's an opposition state. You've been on enough panels on this particular show where we've talked about cases. One second, Raman Malik.
All that I'm saying is, even those women require your help.
How many of these shows have you been on? How many of these shows? One second.
It is not only the
Raman Malik, calm down.
Your attention.
Calm down. Calm down, Raman Malik, and listen to what I am saying. How many shows on this particular channel have you been on with us, with the same panel where we've talked about women from rural Uttar Pradesh, we've talked about women from Rajasthan, we've talked about women from Karnataka, we've talked about women from West Bengal, we've talked about children from West Bengal. You've been part of this. You know that what the accusation that you're making right now about the whataboutery, saying you're not focusing on rural population, is completely false. You know that. You've been on these shows. It's completely distracting. How can you, with a hand on your heart right now, tell me that I have not focused on all of these cases?
I am talking about the entire media space. I am not talking about one channel. I am talking about the entire media space.
Raman Malik, I do not answer for the entire media space. I do, on the other hand, answer for this channel and this show.
But this channel has a reputation of picking up the right causes. And if I am picking up the right causes here, please do not make me shut. Don't do this to me, Faye. I have been a very responsible social citizen, and I've been doing this. And you know this, that I have raised up issues.
My only question to you.
So please understand, every woman's right is important. That is all that I want to put forward.
Which I accept. That you're preaching to the choir. I don't need to be reminded that every woman's right is important. It's something I fundamentally believe in. Now let's talk about Babul Supriyo. Let's talk about Babul Supriyo today on Twitter, saying things like, this is just a boy chase girl situation. It's filmy style. I want to bring in now Varnika here. Varnika, we've had various powerful people say disrespectful things. And I do understand that you cannot comment right now on the specifics of the case because this case is being investigated, and out of respect for that process, we shouldn't discuss it. But I do want to talk about the disrespectful things that continue to be said in public forums by Babul Supriyo, by people who say that this girl was drinking, and they continue to say so, that she was talking on her phone. There's been no action against these people, and this sort of behavior, look at what's happening in West Bengal, look at what's happening elsewhere. Why are you focusing on this case? Why are you turning it into a media trial? This is all distracting from what should actually happen, isn't it, Varnika?
As far as talking on the phone is concerned, I mean, how else am I supposed to call the cops? Am I supposed to, park on the side and then wait for these guys to catch up and be like, hey, I was driving, but I can't talk on the phone while I'm driving? I mean, that point is so ridiculous. And as far as anything else is concerned, yeah, of course. I mean, this is the thing, right? What happens in so many cases is that someone has to actually get injured or actually, lose their life for an issue to be made, for an issue to be brought up. I have been extremely lucky in that I survived. And I think that is a big part of the reason that I'm doing this right now, because I survived, and if I survived, I am the person who has to fight this. And only if I fight this can other women, I think all of whom have encountered cases, maybe not this intense, maybe not this severe, but there are no women in the entire country who haven't faced some sort of harassment. So if I don't raise my voice after having survived, after having been lucky enough to escape, then who's going to do it? The women who have already lost their lives, whose lives have already been ruined, they're not the ones you expect to be doing this.
Absolutely. We do not have the Nirbhayas here to fight, and their voice is replaced currently with voices like Varnika and Aditi Nagpaul, who joins us. Aditi, you encountered a similar situation, And just to prove what Raman Malik is saying, there was no VIP accused here. But we're taking this up because we want the country to hear your story. Aditi, tell us what happened.
I only have to thank God, or actually this accused parents, for not being as connected as there are in Varnika's case. And yes, it is an average, normal guy, a techie guy from Hyderabad who decided to do this. I was followed on the roads. The only difference being that I came home thinking I'm safe. But that man had the audacity to come and ring my bell at 2 o'clock in the morning. When I had 2 children, I was putting them to sleep. And then he further on lurked outside of my building till about 3:30 in the morning, till I had to personally get out, show him I'm strong, tell him to get out and call the police. This is what happened.
I want to bring in Sanjay Jha. Sanjay Jha, this is happening all over our cities. And I want to first applaud Aditi and Varnika here, because women who come out with strong voices like theirs, clear voices like theirs, and I want to also point out unemotional voices like theirs, to say very clearly, in an unemotional manner, that we know you are wrong and we will make sure that you see justice, irrespective of who your daddy may be. It doesn't matter. In this country, justice is justice. Sanjay Jha, there were some accusations flung out by the opposition as well, and I was very disappointed with the fact that between the opposition and the ruling party, a lot of people said that you were making a political game of all of this. What were the accusations the opposition put out, and the accusations towards you that you're turning this into a political slugfest?
Well, you know, Faye, let me just kind of ride above that kind of a petty political, counter-attacks on each other. As a spokesperson, I'm quite conditioned to that. But, I just heard Aditi and I read about the report today. I think we are talking about the same case. And, end of day, let me be very honest. I mean, while it's possible that there will be legal action taken or police investigations will happen, the psychological nightmare or the devastation it causes for the long term, on the sheer, mental fragility of an individual, I think that cost is never calculated. So I think even in the Chandigarh stalking issue, I can't imagine, what the young lady will go through. Even in future, in a safe society, you begin to apprehend the worst. Now, these are costs to society, to individuals, that unfortunately never really are understood or fathomed by anybody at all. I also want to make a second point, which is a reality, and I'm not touching into politics at all about BJP, Congress or any other party. If you look at police across the country, whichever state government is in power, you will find very institutionalized gender discrimination. I mean, for a woman today, I think to file an FIR itself has become a monumental challenge. I think there are some very eminent lawyers on the panel. I think they could probably comment on that to say if I'm right or wrong.
But,
and end of day,
Sanjay,
the police
in
itself,
that case,
I think because of the fact that we are,
Congress-run states doing
somewhere
about
down the line, yeah.
What are the Congress-run states doing about it? Are you telling me, like in the state of Karnataka,
let me tell you what I can say.
The police are different in any way?
Well, let me tell you, I'll tell you where the issue is. I think this has to be addressed in, I think, a far more deeply embedded sense. If you ask any of the state governments, they will tell you that they do have programs on gender sensitization. The women's safety is a paramount challenge for any state government. I'm not saying that any state government will willfully ignore that reality. But there is also the flip side, Faye, which is what we are seeing in Chandigarh, and probably which can happen in any other state for that matter. So I'm not here trying to make a case for one party versus the other. But the truth is that the political system does intervene and interfere. I'm going to bite the bullet on this question. It is true. It is historically established that when a political kin or a relative is involved, the entire system begins to work to protect the accused individual, and the police obviously become the intermediary in the entire process. I don't think the police are willfully doing it, but they are under huge political pressure. So end of day, I think the bottom line here is simple, that, you know, if you're looking at this particular case of the Chandigarh stalking and the one in Mumbai that Aditi represents, I believe there's been another horrific incident in Uttar Pradesh as well. And then the logic is very clear. Civil society,
and one in Bangalore,
media,
one in Bangalore,
and I think NGOs,
Sanjay Jha,
anybody for that matter,
Bangalore.
citizens, you and me, one in Bangalore, one in any state, Faye. I'm not even trying to make a case of one party versus the other. I'm saying we have to be a lot more vigilant. And as you can see in the Chandigarh case, if there is an appropriate pressure, then I think the political system does crumble under that. The truth is that we need to follow it to the logical conclusion that only the future will tell. But I think it's very apparent that if sufficient and adequate pressure is enforced and sustained, then I think no one in this country can get away scot-free.
All right, I'm going to open this panel up to everybody right now. If you want to come in, just let me know that you have a point to make. But I want to play this particular sound bite out, and this is from the press conference that was held today, where we saw Jawahar Yadav of the BJP make this statement. I think of all the things that were said up till now, this was perhaps the most disappointing. Can we play that out, please?
असंतुष्ट वो लोग हैं जो वर्णिका कुंडू के शब्दों का सम्मान नहीं करना चाहते, जो इसको अपना एक राजनीतिक हथियार बनाना चाहते हैं, जो उस बच्ची के साथ जो भी हुआ है वो अपना कोर्ट में पक्ष रखेगी, जिनके प्रति शिकायत है वो अपना कोर्ट में पक्ष रखेंगे। परंतु वास्तव में अगर वर्णिका कुंडू की भावनाओं के साथ कोई खिलवाड़ कर रहा है तो वो कांग्रेस कर रही है और आईएनएलडी कर रही है।
Varnika, what is your reaction to that statement?
I don't have much of a reaction. I mean, I don't understand how various political parties could affect me at all. I mean, my stand on this, on the whole fight that I'm fighting, has been very clear from day one. There is no politics involved here. This is not about politics. It never has been. That has never been involved. The only issue that's at hand here is that I was stalked, but I lived to tell the tale. I'm sorry, I actually don't want to say that. I was almost abducted, but I escaped and I lived to tell the tale. And the point is that I did this to help other women stand up and, speak out. Not because, of course, I mean, my stand is clear. That's pretty much all I have to say.
Yeah, I want to bring in Raman Malik. Raman Malik, respond to that. भावनाओं के साथ खिलवाड़ हो रही है, political ploy हो रही है यहाँ पे. Very clearly, Varnika pointing out कि यहाँ पे तो भावनाओं की question ही नहीं है. This is not about emotions, Raman Malik. This is about justice. It's not about anybody's emotions. Why would anyone make such an irresponsible statement?
Whatever Varnika has said, I'll tell you. Why whatever has been happening, whatever has happened with Varnika is condemnable. I do not support that. But at the same time, she has given her complaint and, she wants justice, and that is totally correct. But at the end of the day, since both the families are powerful in position, what happens is that political people who have decimated themselves to a certain extent suddenly find this as a medium to again be active and be relevant. Now, this politics on this issue has been totally visible by the way things are being done by a lot of political people. My point here is, and which I am putting out on a broader perspective, is nobody is defying the fact that she should get justice, and justice should be served to her, not given, served to her. Second thing, the major point here also happens to be that whatever had happened that night, she had called up the police. I do not think people who are claiming that why was she on the phone or something. They should be out of their rockers or what, I don't know. But they must understand this thing, that in distress you use a phone and call up the cops or your family. So they are also totally wrong. But once you have something which is there in the public domain.
So what action are you taking against Babul Supriyo, Raman Malik? What action will the BJP take against
There are
Babul
reactions. Some could be positive, some could be negative.
What action will you take against Babul Supriyo?
See, Babul Supriyo, the minister, was there on another show with me, on another channel, where he very categorically said that he was not able to comprehend the limitations of these 140 words, and he takes back all that. And on top of that, it was majorly to, if it has hurt, he takes back. But the intent of that post was primarily for his own daughters.
Just to confirm, I am not.
And he had explained the entire process that he did.
No. Babul Supriyo has tweeted in the most irresponsible manner. Irresponsible manner.
You can see if you want, you can see it.
Varnika?
Pardon?
You know, this
Sorry,
is
I just have one question.
Just one. Yeah, go ahead, Varnika.
I also heard his statement, and you know, he made really valid points about how he has a daughter, and you know how he's taught her to defend herself and how she can keep herself safe. So my only question is, and let me remind you again that there is nothing political about this question, like I've made very clear so far. But my question is, if it had been his daughter instead of me, would he still have tweeted what he did?
Yeah, that's the right.
Would he still have called it a filmy boy?
Would he have still?
Boy chases girl? Like I understand there are limitations, but would he have said that?
Raman Malik? And Babul Supriyo came out on Twitter several times to confirm that he was very clear about what he tweeted. He didn't take it back. He said, just to confirm, my account has not been hacked.
I believe Varnika and her father both were there in that debate, if I'm not wrong, and I was there too. And probably she would have heard the entire statement and the entire thing that he wanted to say.
You're still not answering my question.
I did. He talked about his daughter a lot. I did hear that.
Because Varnika is also there.
Yeah, that doesn't answer my question. Yeah.
Sanjay Jha? You know, and I just want to point out, there have been various, members of the ruling party who put out irresponsible tweets on Twitter, including Shaina NC, who then turned around and said her Twitter handle had been hacked for the 5 minutes in which that tweet came out, and she said this so-called Beti. They put out a photograph that was not true at all. They accused Varnika of being drunk. They accused her of being out too late. They accused her of talking on her phone. This sort of thing is completely unacceptable. And if anything, I would want the ruling party to take action against anyone who said anything disrespectful about the victim. We should start here. We should start now. Sanjay Jha.
Faye, let me add to that. I mean, that was like adding insult to injury. I think accentuating the horrific experiences of Varnika. I think, frankly, appalling, absolutely appalling. And the fact that end of day, this is the tragedy of the current, political narrative in India. That today, if the opposition says that, you please have an impartial inquiry, or you find out where the CCTV footage went missing, the prompt response, this is standard operating procedure. Why are you politicizing it? For heaven's sake, I mean, your job is to say get justice, because you're not doing it, somebody's going to put pressure on you. I mean, I think any civil society needs to operate through that realm. So, I think there is some kind of a trivialization of this debate. I saw Babul Supriyo's tweet, and honestly, he tweeted to somebody whom I follow, and that lady is very active on Twitter, and I was appalled. I mean, here is a man, I discovered now that he has a family with daughters. I mean, that you are even more sensitive. I think it just comes to you naturally. So why are people taking political postures that is not consistent with their personality? Well, that's something that only they can answer. But end of day, you are absolutely right, Faye. I mean, the ruling party has to crack the whip at someone at some point.
Can I rebut to him?
I want to say something here. Faye, can I come in?
Yes. Yes. I just want to point out, let me Sanjay Jha, you should have similar opinions.
He says he does not want to
Sanjay Jha should have similar opinions.
And covertly he is doing.
One second.
Let me show him his face. No, let me just show him his face. What was he doing when Chand Mohammed and a Faye happened? Chand Mohammed and a Fiza happened. What was he doing when it was Shashi Tharoor? And every time he was there around the possible evidences. Third, and a very major thing, what was happening in SPS Rathor's case? Where is this Sukanya somebody? Suddenly that is how political power is used to mess around the cases. Not like this.
Okay, let me just point out. I'm going to
started it, Mr. Jha. I have to show you your face.
I'm sorry, I'm not going to fall into the trap.
Yes, Yogita Bhayana, go ahead. Yogita Bhayana. See, okay, I'm going to take this conversation back to our non-political guests. One second. Calm down, Mr. Raman Malik. Calm down, Sanjay Jha. I want to go back to our non-political guests because I will refuse to allow this conversation to be derailed into politics, which is what politics is always trying to do. Yogita Bhayana, go ahead. Yogita Bhayana, go ahead. Yogita Bhayana, go ahead.
Faye, actually thank you so much because this is the first time I would be interacting with Varnika because Varnika is on the panel, so I would like to salute her, and we all as women of this country are with her. I would like to bring her to her notice that yesterday also I was discussing with some senior police officer that 307 can also be added because when she was driving and she was chased, she could have met with the accident, and that could have led to her, severe kind of incidents. So that could also be 307 can be, put in there. The lawyers are on the panel. They would agree here that this is as serious as, attempt to murder. So Raman Malik was saying here that, why you're not talking about the serious cases. This is as serious as this. This could have led to seriousness. That's why we are talking about it. And we all stand with Varnika. That's why I wanted to, kind of communicate it through your channel. And second thing is, I've been hearing Varnika on various channels. She has been explaining and giving explanations and clarifications. Varnika, you don't have to give clarification and explanation. That onus is on the accused. Why you were using phone, why you were drunk, you don't have to give any explanation to anybody. We are not, no more we, as women, we should explain anybody.
You're not under trial.
Onus is not on us, please understand. Thank you. So we all stand with you powerfully. We all with you, we are all with you as women of this country.
Yogita, you're very, very right, and I thank you for making that statement on behalf of all of the women in this country. We do stand with Aditi Nagpaul and with Varnika. And Yogita is so right. Varnika is not under trial here. You are not being investigated. You don't have to explain anything. You don't owe these cheap people on Twitter any sort of explanation at all. Pal Singh, I beg your pardon, Pal Singh, former Inspector General of Police, Punjab, joins us on the show. Mr. Singh, thank you for your time. We appreciate that you've joined us. I want to understand from you, there are several twists in this particular case so far. CCTV footage that disappeared and then re-emerged, charges that have been changed, summons from the police that was ignored. What are you making of this? Do you believe that the police was under some sort of pressure for the first couple of days, Mr. Singh?
You are asking about the police being under pressure. This case actually has assumed a dimension more of a political than talking in terms of why these things are happening so frequently despite legal framework having been changed after the Nirbhaya case. We have to go into the genesis of the thing, why these are happening. Every time something like that happens, we just politicize it. One victim, second victim, third victim. I'll try to draw your attention. First is a social attitude, which you know, I know. Then we take it, no. The girl will get stigmatized. We should not do that. You remember the case that Krishna Tanwar, who was shot dead on the International Women, shot at International Women Day near the University of Delhi. It was done that for 8 months she was being stalked. She was being followed. But somehow or the other, her parents and they did not try to go to the police, or if they went to the police, police took it as a sort of passive crime. All right, stalking is nothing. What is there? It is just ordinary thing. They do not understand that this stalking can result into certain dire consequences, certain things which are manifest of something happening subsequently. You see, in most of the cases, 3 cases last year in Delhi, in 3 cases, 2 cases, the parents stopped the girl not to talk about it. In 1 case, police did not think the charge is important. So first is, the attitude is still continuing. No stalking. And then, after the amendment of the Act, under the criminal, when this Nirvaya case took place, we amended 356, under 350, 354, under A, B, C, D. Somehow the 354D, stalking was made as a sort of bailable offense. Others are little dire and all. I am correct. Second point is about the legal. Now, third point is the police attitude. The police attitude always has been, somehow or the other, to reduce the crime, stringency of the crime, or not to register the case, because they say, all right, let the crime rate go down. My police station should not become as a sort of target that this has been happening, crime is happening all along. From the year we have got independence onward, most of the cases where I have served, the FIR is never registered first. Now when the FIR is registered, then the case is diluted, so that it may not come upon. This is a general attitude. In this particular case, what has happened politically, etc., that will come to subsequent. This is the second case that police in general tries to do. All right, let us try to dilute the case. In this case, investigation was yet to be done. If you could add the charges, I heard some police officers telling that we could have added the charges. Why not start with stringent charges, and if that case does not prove in the investigation, you delete the charges. We should start with some stringent charges. Instead of starting with a stringent action, you are starting with diluted action. So if you start with a due course of time when you are investigating in 2 months or 3 months before submission of charge sheet, if you think the evidence is not there, then those stringent charges, those particular sections of law could have been dropped down. No, they'll start with the diluted section, A. B, in this case, there's not only this particular 354D. In this case, there are certain other things. So criminal intimidation under section 503, 506 also could have been applicable. Why not start with that? That is a non-bailable offense. After, this is not, when she is stating that I was stalked, I was harassed, at least one element of crime is definitely there, there's criminal intimidation. At least you register a case under 503, 506, you have no evidence. No. Because it becomes a non-bailable offense, and because it will become a stringent offense, they wanted to dilute it. My point is, whether the dilution has been because of political pressure or because of the police's own attitude, the fact of the case is, in this case, when the girl has stated that I have been harassed, I have been stalked, I have been followed, my car has been banged, why not start with a very stringent action? This is a second point, police attitude. Third point, which is much more important. Every time something like that happens, the police start thinking in terms of political pressure, because they have got a political pressure, because all along, police is working somehow or the other in the state. This is a state subject. And the state machinery, and in this case, Chandigarh, of course, it comes on the center. Somehow or the other, the political pressure works. Despite the fact that we have gone to the Supreme Court gave a ruling, Supreme Court in the Vikas Singh case, that you appoint boards there, the disciplinary action should be taken, and we should do this sort of reformation, this sort of reformation, this sort of changing in the police.
Yes.
Nobody has bothered.
Yes, sir.
We went again to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court said that we are sorry, we can only give direction. Constitutionally is a state subject, we cannot change. So by and large, police itself immediately gets politicized. All right, because their promotions are to be affected, their leave has to be affected, their charges has to. So there are 4 or 5 factors which result in this. Every time a case happens, we start arguing. Without going into this.
I want to point out here, Mr. Singh is a former Inspector General of Police, Punjab, such a senior officer, confirming whether or not it was political or not, we don't know. Dilution happened. It was a very, very clear case of dilution of charges. It was a very, very clear case of going easy in this particular case. And had the media not put pressure on this case, it is very likely that these boys would still be completely scot-free. I want to bring in our two senior lawyers as well. Amit, yes.
But we should give credit to the media. If media had not put pressure, probably again something would have happened. Either the police would not have registered the case under this, or the evidence would have been lost. So therefore, I think in this case, the media should be appreciated. The girl should be appreciated. The girl's father should be appreciated. That irrespective of the attitude, general attitude still there. And whatever the lacunas, whatever delusion has taken, it has either taken because of the police laxity, police general attitude, or because of political pressure. That's a different thing. But to politicize it completely, it's no use, because every time it will happen, every time we'll say like that, this should be changed, that should be changed,
yes,
without going into the facts.
Yes, sir. I want to bring in Amit Khemka and Aishwarya Bhati at this point. Amit Khemka, obviously it's been diluted. We've had evidence of foul play in this particular case. How do we make the case right now? What should the police do right now to make this case watertight and foolproof, so that punishment is clear and not diluted any further?
Just look at the turn of events. First, they are bailed out by imposition of a bailable charge. Then the CCTV footage go missing. Then they are found. Then the father says that, okay, now I am all right if he is arrested. So it is not the police who came under the media pressure. It is the father who came under the media pressure first. Then he permitted the police to go after his son. And when the police was permitted by that gentleman, then only the police acted.
Khemka,
so please see the turn of events. So
you're factually incorrect, Mr. Khemka.
I will, sir, please.
Mr. Khemka is factually incorrect.
First we read in the newspaper today that father says, I am all right if you go after my son. Then only the police acted.
Please go by the facts, don't go by the stories in the newspaper.
I will go by the newspaper stories. You might be doing something better, Mr.
Let me tell you one thing.
You will clarify.
Mr. Barala, the party president of BJP,
sir,
very categorically came.
I will be
sir.
And Mr. Malik, please.
Sir, you are factually incorrect.
Mr. Malik, please.
Incorrect, sir.
You will have your turn, sir.
Please don't go by stories.
Sir, you will have your turn.
Mr. Raman Malik. But please allow Mr. Khemka to make his argument.
Yeah.
Mr. Raman Malik, please allow Mr. Khemka to complete his argument. Go ahead.
Mr. Malik, if you are clean, please appoint a SIT. Remove these officers who have been investigating till now.
Yes.
Not only the investigating officer, but his immediate superior as well. And put these people, totally independent SIT be appointed. If you are clean, please do that. That would be the first step you can take to ensure the people of this country that you are objective and fair about it. That's all, sir, I am saying. The turn of events till now it absolutely creates a cloud of doubt on you. Very, very clear, sir.
Right.
Now you can
Raman Malik, now respond. Now respond. Now respond.
First of all, Mr. Khemka is factually incorrect. Time and again, Mr. Barala has come out and categorically said guilty must be punished, inquiry must happen, and judiciary should do its work, independent, and he would abide by everything as a father. Secondly, let me also bring to his notice that whatever the police does, please go and ask the police. I have no problems whatsoever because I am not a spokesperson for the police, again I'm saying. And a third major point which has to be understood here, and I believe it would be seconded by Varnika, that over the period of time, in the press conference of the police on the day 2 or day 3, I am not able to pinpoint it, but it was very categorically said when it was asked about the cameras, they said we do not have the feeds, but we are trying to ascertain and have all the feeds which were available from other cameras also on this way. and we will inquire into all those fields, see, and if there is evidence, we will add cases. Now, if that has not happened, please correct me if that has not happened. That has happened.
I want to ask you one thing. What was the hurry to give him bail?
This is the third instance when
what was
charges
the
are
hurry
added.
to give him bail?
One,
it was
the charges
not available.
were imposed. Second, another charge was added. Then today, another 2 charges are done.
You know, I just have one last question. Allow me, everyone.
Hello.
One last question directed to Aishwarya Bhati. Aishwarya, why can't we fast track this case? Why can't we make sure that the case is closed as quickly as possible? Justice, whether delivered or served or given, is actually done quickly. What needs to be done at this point? Like Mr. Khemka said, bring in an SIT. What needs to be done at this point to make sure there is no meddling going forward?
Well, Faye, frankly, I am also very disappointed with the way system has been working. So I think the only way to fast track this is to keep it in the media eye, because that is the only thing that seems to be working. And I congratulate your relentless pursuit on this. I congratulate the 2 courageous women who have stood and fought not just for themselves. You know, this is not a fight for themselves alone. It's every woman's journey, and it's a journey for generations to come. And I also wanted to make one point that stalking is often viewed as a very a minor or a very diluted kind of an offense, but we have seen that stalkers are the people who, if they're allowed to go ahead with their pursuits of stalking, then they are the ones who turn into more heinous offenses. We must not forget that offenses against women are almost like hate crimes. Women become victims of these offenses only because they are women and for nothing else. And I want to request Mr. Malik that you may not be a spokesperson of the police, sir, but the police is under your authority and administration of the state. I want to tell you, sir, that the police does not inspire any confidence for the common people. There is a problem when law enforcement agencies are there. The women are not confident to walk into police stations and lodge FIRs for any assaults or harassments that they go through. It is absolutely impossible to go there without being, not being humiliated about it. So things need to be changed. And you know what is the biggest problem? This is a case where there is a political clout, but even otherwise, the police has become part of the problem. They were required to be part of the solution, but they have become part of the problem, and the buck stops with the governance of the day. The buck does not stop anywhere else. The buck stops with the governance of the day.
Okay, I'm going to,
please keep it up.
That's really well said, Aishwarya. I'm going to have to, thank you, Aishwarya. I'm going to have to wrap this up right now. We just want to point out one thing. It all comes down to standing up to bullies. Varnika stood up to the bully, her father stood up to the bullies. The media at this point all unanimously stood up to the bullying and said that we don't care how powerful you may be. Justice is justice, and justice must be delivered. It is simply about that. And to every woman who is watching, I promise you that if you feel that you have reached a point where you have been wronged in any way, we will stand by you. And in this particular case, we will continue to track it and keep the pressure on until justice is in fact served. And that call doesn't go out just to the women of this country. It goes out to every Indian citizen. You are entitled to the help of the police, you are entitled to fairness in front of the judiciary, you are entitled to your fair say. And if you don't receive that, this channel is your voice. This channel will always be the voice of people who need to stand up to bullies.